Hey, what's going on everybody? Seth Cole here of the NNSCRA Sports Channel, and welcome to a tutorial video here on NNSCRA. I ended up posting a couple of photos on Facebook, and people asked me to actually make a tutorial on how I did them, and so that's what I'm going to be doing in this episode. This is going to be a rendering tutorial, and these were the two pictures that I posted on Facebook. This was one of my two 52 cars, and then I decided I would try with a different one, and so I did the DirecTV and BB&T.com '07s. So these were renders that I had actually created myself after rendering some of my cars because I had found out some interesting features here on Autodesk 3ds that I didn't know about. Now, in order to be able to do these renders, there are two things that you do need to have that I use. One is Autodesk 3ds. This is the 2010 version. I know they've come out with several other versions since then, but this is the one that I'm the more familiar with. As far as I know, you do actually have to pay for it. I was able to get mine through a free full download. I don't know if there's any place that has it. If there is, I don't know where, because the place where I got mine, that website no longer exists. And so that's one problem if you need 3DS, Autodesk 3DS. As far as I know, you actually do have to have a product key, and then I think there's also a crack that you need for it as well if you're going to run the free full version. Anyway, another thing that you're going to also need, as you see right there is highlighted, is GIMP Shop. Now, I do know that some people use Photoshop. Now, I don't know for certain. I've never used Photoshop, but if there are some features in Photoshop that you're able to use in GIMP as well, maybe you can do it with Autodesk 3ds and with Photoshop as well. You're just going to have to see what I do in GIMP and see if any of those kind of commands are in Photoshop. If so, then you'll probably be able to do the same thing. You just have to kind of figure out what the similarities are between Photoshop and GIMP. But anyway, I'm going to show you guys today how I did those two render scenes. I'm going to do it with two other cars, two cars that I had made. They are number 30 machines that I had done for Turner Motorsports. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our render template. We're going to put in the scanline scene file. These Gen 6 render scenes can be gotten from BigDOnlineMotorsports.com. Same place where the BR12 and BR13 and BR11, all those bull ring mods where they're downloaded. So we're going to move this over here. It's probably the first time I put this in. It's going to actually just like do something random. It usually does. I don't know why. Just kind of waiting for it to load here. Not sure why it's not loading. Oh, did I not? Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. So it's going to do it for me correctly the first time. Sometimes it won't give me that open file thing, and it'll just put a car in there and it doesn't put it in correctly. So we're going to have it load up here. It is taking a little bit longer than it normally does because I am recording, so please bear with that. Alright, so we're going to get the first car, and let's see, I have a Dishonored car, and I have a Last of Us car, and I think I want the Last of Us car to be the one that'll be facing backwards. So the one that you want facing backwards, you're going to want to do first. Just bear that in mind too. There we go. Oh, this is Outlast, that's right. Not Last of Us. And there's three places you got to put it on the car. You got to put it on the hood, you got to put it on the front, which will cover most of the rest of the car, and then up there are the roof rails. You're going to definitely want to get those too, otherwise you're going to end up with blue roof rails. Alright, so that's completely done. Now here's what I ended up finding out was the cool stuff. Is over here, right here, this little cube. If you click on the corner, it turns the car up on it, side and at an angle. If you click over here to go a little bit further left, it turns the car completely towards you. Click on the corner there, it rotates it that way. And you just keep doing that until you get to here. Next thing you're going to do is, if you rendered it this way, you'd actually have part of the back of the car missing. So you're going to go down here to all the way down to the bottom right. There you see is your zoom button. It's a magnifying glass. Click on that. And then you click on your picture and drag your mouse towards you. And that's going to minimize the picture and make it smaller. Now here's the next step, and this is very, very important. In order to be able to do what I'm going to be showing you in GIMP, you're going to want to have your background be a color that you'll be able to erase. And so what I actually have here is I have a picture that I believe is 480 by 360, and it's of just a white uh, background. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on that, and you're going to drag it up here to first the top section, and then click OK. And there you see it's all white back there. One thing I'm going to tell you real quickly too is if you have a car that is white, do not drag white up there. Use another color like maybe yellow or something. Because if you use white background with a white car in front of it, you're not going to be able to do what I'm going to be showing you without running into some problems. So we're going to take this white and we're also going to drag it down here to this black part. There we go. Alright, so that should be all we need to do for this particular car. So we're going to go right to work on rendering it. And while this is rendering, I'm going to tell you too that there are other Gen 6 render scenes that are out there. I do have one particular render scene, and I tried testing with it, and it did not work. If you take and you change the angle like I just did on this car, it will not work for you. It renders a completely blank render screen. It's really weird. So just bear that in mind. If you're able to find any other render scenes that do actually render the whole thing after you've changed the angle, then good for you, but I haven't been able to find any yet. So this render doesn't take too terribly long either. That's one thing I like about these particular renders is even though you switch the angle up and everything, it doesn't take a long time to render. Alright, so it's almost done here. So this is going to be the car that's going to be in the back. We're going to save it. And I'm going to save it over to where I keep all of my renders in a renders folder. So I'm just going to put 52 Outlast Test, and you're going to want to save it as a JPEG file, the JPEG or JPG, whichever. And then I'm going to save it. For the image control, you're going to want quality all the way up to best. You don't really have to worry about the file size and everything. I have basically everything down for file size and smoothing and everything up for quality. It doesn't affect it as much, I don't think, about the file size. The file size, I think, kind of will take down a little bit of the quality of the car. Alright, so we got that done. Now what we got to do is we got to do what we were doing all over again. So we're going to have to start with an entirely clean car. And my Autodesk is not responding for a moment here. Just a second. Yeah, Autodesk doesn't like it when I'm running Bandicam at the same time, apparently. So anyway, while that's deciding to be stupid, I'll just bring up my Chevy thing here. I'll tell you also here, I don't know if any of you will ever run into this problem, but for the Brazilian scene, as opposed to the scanline scene, the Brazilian scene actually doesn't show up. It doesn't have the window net, it doesn't have the windows, it's just basically a black silhouette. It does not have any details on it whatsoever. And apparently Autodesk is going to decide to be stupid on me. So what I'll do is I'll pause the episode real quick and then come right back. So that way you guys don't have to just sit here and wait for Autodesk to decide not to be stupid. Okay, so I closed it out, started to back up. We should be good to go here. Not exactly sure why I decided to do that. Anyway, going back to what I was saying about Brazilian scene and scanline scene, the Brazilian just shows up as a black silhouette. The scanline works fine for me, so that's why I basically just use the scanline. I don't even bother with the Brazilian. I mean, maybe there's some way to be able to get it to show up the way it's supposed to, but the scanline works just fine, and so I don't really bother with it. Alright, so we're going to do our second car here. And so we put in our little render template here. And let's see, where's the car I wanted to do? Okay, the Dishonored car. Yep. This car is pretty doggone cool, and so I want this one on the front of the picture. We move it onto the three spots, the front, the hood, and the roof rail. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this car, but we're only going to do once. We're going to click the corner facing closest to us of the cube on this rotate thing. And there it is. And like I showed you before with the zoom button, we're going to use the zoom button and we're going to drag just a bit. There we go. want to make sure that the car is completely in the picture. That'll be perfect right there. And once again, what we're going to do is we're going to put the white picture as the background. Just like that. Alright, so as that's been done, we're going to render this car. And after this car is rendered, then that's all we're going to need from Autodesk 3ds Max. And we're going to then be using the rest of the editing skills over in GIMP Paint Shop. And it's going to be pretty interesting. That's going to be the more complex part of this tutorial. And there we go. Car is done. We're going to do Dishonored. I didn't spell that right. Don't really care though, because it doesn't matter. Dishonored test. JPEG file, save. Quality at the best. And that's it. Alright, so we're done with this. We're going to close out Autodesk. We don't need that anymore. We don't really need these at the moment. Okay, so we're going to go into GIMP. And this is where a lot of the real editing ends up coming into play. And there are a couple of things that you actually do have to do in order for this to work. There are a couple places where you really can't cut the corners, or if you do, it's not going to come out quite right. So what we're going to do is, while this is loading up, I'm actually going to switch my pictures folder over to my render scenes. And we're going to find the two scenes that we want. Oh, look at that. Just as soon as I do that, then GIMP decides to come up. Alright, so right there is our Dishonored car. And where in the world is our other one? Okay, it's missing. Alright, I guess I gotta sort by this. I think I must have given it a wrong name. What name did I give it? What? Okay, hold on, folks. I don't know what's going on. Oh, okay. Oh, I named it 52. Outlast test. No wonder. It's a 30 car. So that's why I couldn't find it. Alright, so we got these two right here. The two that we're going to use. Alright, so what we're going to do next is here with our GIMP. I already have a default one here. You're going to want a black image. This is a complete full screen black shot. It is a 768 by 480. That's what I'm going to use. And in order for us to be able to see what we're doing, I'm going to actually put the viewing zoom at 50%. So there's the square that we're going to be working with. Now the first one that you're going to do is actually not going to really be much of a problem. We're going to take our first car, the car that's going to be in the back, the Outlast car. I'm going to drag it over. Alright, so there it is. And what we're going to do is we're going to drag it up here, almost to the top of the screen. Not quite, but close. And apparently I rendered this one a little bit larger than the other ones that I normally do, because most of the time I have to come over here with the little rectangular cut tool up there, and I have to very carefully cut right here, just a little sliver, copy it, and then paste it and drag it over, so that way this kind of floor that we have here underneath of our car in the back covers the left to right of the picture. So apparently didn't really have to do much of that, but there it is anyway. Alright, so the next car we're going to do, this is where it gets interesting, folks. We're going to take our front car, we're going to drag it over, and what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control and X at the same time and delete it. Now you're probably wondering, why do you delete it? Well, because what I'm going to show you next will not work on a picture that's been dragged into GIMP. It has to be done only on a picture that has been pasted into GIMP. Why it works that way, I don't know. So we're going to hit Control and V, or you can, however else you do your pasting, and we're going to bring it back, but we've got it now as a pasted file. As you can see up here, you got your base, You got your first car in the back, and then it says floating selection pasted layer. That's what you're going to want. And we're going to drag it down a little bit here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this car, we're going to find the color picker tool right there that I just chose over in the toolbar section. Going to choose the white. Then we're going to go over to our paint can. Up in the tool options, we're going to, instead of normal, choose color erase. Go down and click on the white. Alright. I kind of want that that car resized just a tiny bit. Whoops. Forgot to lock the aspect ratio. And that'll do. And then you're going to take this car. Oh wow, we actually do need to have it that big. I don't know why. Do we? Wow. Okay. So then we're going to take and we're going to put this just like that right there. And then we're going to right click up on our pasted layer and hit anchor layer. Now, I normally don't have to do this, but apparently I have to do this in this one because the renders came out a little bit larger or smaller, whichever the case may be. I'm going to go up to the rectangular cut tool again. I'm going to go down here just in front of the splitter of this car. Hopefully not get any of that splitter shadow in this. And I'm going to just do a little bit of painter's editing here to be able to make that floor stretch out. And it should work. There it is. So now it goes off the screen that way. Alright, so if you take a look at this then, and if we put it to the full version screen, there you go. You have your cars here. Actually, you know what? Wow. I really messed up on that one. I really should not have had that front car so far up. I could actually move it down further on the picture there. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this one down so that way you can actually see the Outlast car behind it, because I have so much space in this picture to work with. I don't know why I had it so far up. There we go. Much better. And now I'll do that little nifty editing thing I did again. Drag there, scale, and anchor. And there you go. That's how you're gonna do your render scenes that way, custom wise. You can do all sorts of interesting stuff with the render scenes and everything. I actually just recently made a number 41 Kurt Busch car and did several different render scenes with it, as you can see right here. And did several different angles and everything. And oops, how do I get out of this? And there you go, shameless plug for Anthony McCurry's World Endurance Championship. But, you know, there's several different ways that you can do different angles for rendering and everything. And this was just one cool way that I'd come up with, that you can actually take two cars, have them in the same render at the same time. I'm also going to post another video after this, another tutorial on how to be able to put all the fancy stuff up on the renders and everything, like numbers, names, sponsors, and stuff like that here with the GIMP Shop Pro. So if you want to be able to see that, tune into the next episode. Hope this helped you guys out that want to be able to do renders on your own. If you have any other questions about this, or if you need any help, let me know below in the comments, and I'll let you know what little other secrets may be underlying in both Paint Shop, or not Paint Shop, but in GIMP Shop rather, and in Autodesk 3ds. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time here. And stay tuned for the second part of this tutorial coming out on how to render Gen 6 cars on GIMP Shop and Autodesk.